Welcome back, Lake County residents, to another episode of Lake Live. This week, we had the opportunity to meet an amazing woman, Yvonne Cox. She's taken up the daunting task of running the warming shelter, and as we all know, it's been freezing cold. We've had just an amazing, catastrophic winter this year.
We definitely have.
Yeah, I think everyone's feeling it all over. I know I am. It's been nothing but cleanup on my end. But so we had this opportunity to bring this amazing woman in to tell us a little bit about where she came from, this idea she had for the warming center. Apparently, this warming center though was before that what would you call it? The Elijah House.
The Elijah House.
Okay,
yeah. It was a homeless shelter, like an actual homeless shelter.
Right.
And but they ended up closing it down. I'm not sure why, but they did.
Yeah.
And but as winter comes along, the last minute thing again, I wish people would this year start thinking about next year about what we're going to do for the shelters. So again, they were able to use, luckily enough, this facility to open up this warming shelter for the winter, but as we know, it's not a permanent thing, so we need to look more towards permanent housing.
Permanent status,
So she's having some problems with that, so hopefully they'll extend that out, but it also has to do with funding too, so.
Gotcha.
I'm sure the grants are going to be going out.
With that being said, let's introduce you to Yvonne Cox.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're here with Yvonne Cox, our guest this week on Lake Life, and I got a chance to go out and visit her at the warming center. Is that what we're calling it, or do we call it a shelter? Warming shelter. Okay. And we've gone through a hellacious winter this winter. I mean, this has been just an unforgiving winter. We've had snow, and not just 1 or 2 days. We've had weeks of snow.
Very unusual.
And very unusual. And as us, Lake Countyans drive our county, we see in the hills we're still inundated with lots of snow. And just this morning, Joyce did not know this feature was on her computer, but she saw frost warning, and so
I heard that too.
Yeah, so now here we are going into a frost warning.
Which is kind of sad because we have everything blooming, and so that means that if it freezes too much, then we lose our fruits.
Our crops. Lake County is agricultural, a very large agricultural area. So curious, like this weather. Does this bring more people into the shelter, or does it stay about the same?
It definitely impacts our numbers.
Okay.
Where people are more apt to be out when it's nice out and stay on the beaches and be able to stay in their cars when it's really extremely cold, numbers definitely go up.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could actually see that happening, and I was really I came out and visited you at the shelter, and you had explained to me about the transportation, and I actually happened to be in Clear Lake Oaks when the shuttle came to pick people up, and I mean it seemed people are excited to come there.
It's a great resource, and it would be sad to lose it, because what we do is we take people off of the streets. Therefore, they're not panhandling in front of businesses. They're not breaking into your house for resources. It takes down the crime level. It also helps with the impact on hospitals. Because everybody's there eating, playing cards, putting puzzles together, doing art.
So do you have resources that are there for them to be able to talk to social services, or
we have all that
mental health, or anything that they may need? Or say, most of them, the reason why they're homeless, I'm going to say a huge percentage of them is because they have other issues.
Yes.
So are you able to get them services for
Monday through Friday? I have something in place.
Okay.
On Monday we have Dr. Donda comes in and does a clinic. I'm backwards. Monday is NA. Tuesday is Dr. Donda. Wednesday is group. Thursday is social services, and also we have Catholic Charities that come in. And then Fridays are normal meetings.
do you have a program there with the turnkey program that's, the state's put in place to help homeless? A lot of different areas have taken hotels and made them into, basically taken the rooms and made them into where they're more livable for a single person, or
Transitional.
transitional housing. So, for years it was called the turnkey program. Different organizations have started naming them different things. But are you connected with any of those type of programs?
We
I
are.
know that Lake County doesn't really have much of that.
No, but I'm looking into putting that into place on my own.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have a friend that has a resort that's been closed down for a while. So I'm looking into possibly renting it, and it's 30 rooms.
Oh.
So that would be a great place for transitioning. Not everybody is transitional though, and
No.
that's why it's
Yeah.
so important to have this shelter.
Yeah.
There's people with mental illness.
Right.
There's people with Alzheimer's, dementia. I have seen all scopes
Yeah.
of, and then if you put mental illness with methamphetamine or fentanyl,
Right.
it's a disaster.
Right.
And I've had 4 different people surrender their drugs to me, which
Wow.
is impressive.
Yeah.
You
and,
know-
and you don't turn people away. You said it before.
No,
yeah.
we don't judge.
You don't
if
judge,
you
yeah.
use, we hope that you don't, but we're going to help you navigate to maybe feel more comfortable, have more resources, get you on right track so that you don't need these for a coping
Right.
mechanism.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because that's really what they are. Is they are having a hard time dealing with their lives, and that's the reason why they. And then, as I talk to some of them, at the beginning it's a choice. For several days it's a choice, but then it becomes not a choice to them anymore. And so
Exactly.
it's and what I don't like about Lake County, which I have been pushing for years, I realize it takes 20 years to do anything. It took 20 years to get people to realize we had homeless. When I first
Right.
came to Lake County, I went to the Board of Supervisors and I wanted to take this 20 acres out on 172 and make a transitional housing and rehab. And that time we had nothing here, and they're like, "Oh, well, we don't need that."
Wow.
It's like, well, yeah, you do need that.
do
We don't
need
have
it,
homeless
yeah.
and stuff like that here.
We do.
You do.
Oh,
Open
yeah.
up
23 years.
open up your door and you will see them.
Yeah.
If you don't open up your door and keep it closed, of course you're not ever going to see them.
Or go to Safeway.
23 years ago, in front of I had a tattoo shop at the time. There was a gentleman eating out of the garbage can. I was like, "Don't do that. That's been in there a minute." And so at that point, I knew there was a need.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started my first soup kitchen, it was at the senior center in Lucerne. And one of my friends, I remember saying, "Well, what if there's only 5 people?" And I said, "Well, then that's 5 less hungry people."
Exactly. Yeah.
But as it turned out, the first time I feed is 57.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it
there's-
only grew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So how many do you have in the shelter on an average?
On the average 30. Last
Yeah.
night we're at capacity.
Yeah. So and how many
And
is
what is capacity?
35.
Yeah.
35. Okay.
So,
I think I was one over.
yeah. So and so you were saying that we were talking before the show that they're talking about maybe shutting it down for a while.
Yes.
not
Shutting
having-
it down?
Well,
Yeah.
our contract was only for 3 months,
Oh.
and it started, I believe it was January 25th is when it was approved by the Board of Supervisors.
Oh, so you're like
And then
approaching the
luckily,
deadline.
I don't regret, I jumped the gun and opened February 2nd. We weren't supposed to open till the 14th. I did everything ass backwards, but it was needed.
Yeah.
And look how the weather turned
Right.
out. And
Yeah.
it took me this long to get my crew in place, that I have a competent crew that I feel comfortable I can leave,
Yeah.
and everything's being ran properly.
Properly, yeah.
That's
'Cause
important.
That's very important because the places that we have their house, the main problem was people get in there and they don't know what they're doing and they don't want to listen to somebody per se that does, and it ends up to being a pretty disastrous thing. And so I'm always leery when something opens. I was confident with you opening one.
Thank you.
But we've had a couple of them here in town, and they really became bad situations. They just became very bad situations, and it's because the people that were running them didn't understand what really needed to happen. It's like, you don't let an alcoholic be the person overseeing other people.
There's gotta be
You don't-
boundaries,
yeah.
boundaries and borders and protocol.
Right, and that's and unfortunately you don't let them sit in the middle of the room with their dog and their drugs and and stuff like that. And that's kind of what happened at one of them. Was really, really not good, and they did get shut down, and
Well-
they needed to be shut down. But I mean, I really feel like this needs to be all year round thing. It can't just be because it's cold.
I totally agree.
They need to have, the reason why these people, like you said, they break into these empty places or they get trespassing. So we turn around and these people already have problems. And then we create more of a problem by citing them. Of course, they don't show up to court, so of course it's over and over and over again. Next thing you know, they're spending a year in jail because they trespassed because they were cold or because they had no place to sleep. Right. It's like it is like I read some of the journals of some of these people, right, and it's amazing once you realize what they're thinking. It's like, I've read some that's like I feel like I'm in a cage on a wheel that just keeps turning as I watch my friends die and stuff. I just can't seem to get off this wheel.
Right.
But the biggest problem we have here is that there is no 24-hour detox center. You cannot help any of these people that are on drugs and alcohol without having a 24-hour detox center. So
that makes sense.
That's the thing that I've been fighting for now for probably 7, 8, 10 years now, to get a 24-hour detox center.
That's a great idea.
Because when these people come to me and want help, because almost everybody knows I'll help them if they want help, but the 800 numbers and stuff might as well go away. They need to take that money that they're wasting those billions of dollars on that do nothing, because basically they say go to your social service office. Well, our social service office, and most of them don't have anything to do with this kind of stuff. But we need to take that money. To me, we need to be fighting for that money to be allocated, and every county should be required to have a detox cans.
I think it's a great idea because sometimes when people are ready to quit, there has to have resources available.
It has to be right then and there. In Lake County, unless they're changing things, I hope, because I hear they are, but they have not had contracts. It used to be I could go to Santa Rosa because they had contracts with the DAC program down there, and they had contracts with 4th Street in Ukiah, but they haven't had those contracts for many years now. So if you're from Lake County, you're kind of up a creek because there isn't. So the
and
only
this
way
is where
you
the
can
low
get in,
barrier comes in. Us doing low barrier, when they first was brought to my attention through the grant writer, that this meant that they could bring their drugs in and they could be loaded, but it was a no see, no tell policy. And at first I thought, this is kind of putting my team and myself at risk. But after seeing everybody that came in, I knew them. And I knew everybody from my nonprofit running at 23 years. There was no threat. But what we were able to accomplish was we gave people stability. We gave them a warm place. We gave them hope. You see people excited to come back. And, what do you have for us today?
Right. And
we're doing flu shot clinics.
Right.
There's always something going on.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I think Utah was the first state that did that, was like just took a hotel, built it, and said, here you go, we're going to keep you warm, we're going to keep you this, and allowed them to drink or do drugs. They could show up to the place to do drunk or things if they went into their room and they stayed there.
Exactly. They have to be able to maintain.
They could not though use on the property. If they showed up and they went to their rooms, that was okay.
Right.
But I mean, one of the policies was they could not do it on their property.
That's what's making our program successful, is that I regulate. We have low barrier, but we do have boundaries and protocol. I will not, like I've had people smoking meth in the hallways.
Oh my gosh.
Well, they were exited quickly.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm not going to put up with that. That's disrespectful.
Yeah,
like I said, it's a no see, no policy. And if you can't maintain and you can't take care of yourself, you can't be there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
So I, like I said before, had a chance to go out and visit Yvonne at the warming center. We're going to take you guys there right now. Good morning, Lake County residents. We are here at 1111 Wayland Way, the old juvenile hall. This beautiful woman has turned this place into a warming center, a place for people to get off the streets, and right now in Lake County we are seeing unprecedented cold weather. Absolutely, for some people this would be a devastating time of year for them. I mean, being on the street, freezing. I mean, literally in Lake County, you could probably freeze to death right now.
We definitely save lives.
Yeah, definitely save lives. We're standing in the kitchen. This is like the kind of the heart of the operation. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And about how many meals a day are you serving?
30 in the morning, 30 in the evening, and then we pack a snack to go.
For the dinner?
For the lunch.
Oh, for the lunch.
Because
Okay.
our hours of operation is 4 in the afternoon till 9 a.m. But with this emergency weather that's been going on, we've been pulling 24 hours.
24 hours, 7 days a week because of the emergency weather. I mean, we've got snow all over our hills. The snow is not leaving us anytime soon.
Yes, this is true.
So we're looking at, and this is a 7-day-a-week operation.
Correct.
Okay, so 7 days a week, more than 60 meals a day.
That is correct.
Wow, that is a monumental task to take on. And do you have a small army of volunteers, or are they paid?
I have staff and volunteers. It started out, I had a little bit of a staff, which didn't work out because not everybody has the right aptitude for this kind of work. You have to be authority, but not aggressive.
Yeah, and there's, consideration of people and their situation. These are important things, especially with, the clientele that you're dealing with. Some may even, have mental health issues.
Definitely. I have dealt with mental health, drug addiction with mental health. There's a variety. Alzheimer's, dementia, we've had it all.
So not only, are you the director of this center, but at some point, you're a liaison. You are the bridge. You're the bridge between these folks and, their lives, basically. This is a struggle for all of you.
Yes, thank you. Most of the people I have a personal relationship with from doing this 23 years. So I get a lot of love and respect from these people, where some people would not be able to handle this job because there's a lot of stress that comes with it. You're dealing with many different personalities, attitudes, and situations, from, like I said, drug addiction to mental health.
Exactly. And Yvonne, she says 23 years. So no, she has not been at this location for 23 years. I have been following this lady for the last 3 or 4 years on her Facebook page. Amazing person. You did this right out of your own home.
I did. I bought a restaurant, and at first it was out of my motorcycle shop. This came out of seeing the necessity and the need that people were eating out of garbage cans, and there were no resources on our side of the lake. So 23 years ago, I started a soup kitchen at the senior center, and it evolved, and I saw the need became bigger and greater, and I stayed with it. I never imagined it going 23 years.
23 years, and the senior center in Lucerne, is that correct?
That is correct.
That is amazing.
2020, I received Woman of the Year, a congressional award.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I followed you on that whole deal.
Honored and humbled.
So we are here with Yvonne. We're going to walk around. We're going to meet a few folks who are recipients of this great care that she's been doing, and look forward to talking to them. Yvonne, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us out here. This is, I know, a struggle for, you are the type of person that you don't want to take recognition. You don't really do the spotlight thing, but here you are.
The only recognition I've ever wanted was to be put in the position to help more people on a larger level. As you know, I did it out of my own pocket for 23 years. And we were successful, and, the need was definitely taken care of, and it was great. But now we're on a platform where we can help a lot more people, and it's just not giving out outreach and food. We're giving showers, we're giving referrals, we're helping people get into situations, homes. We're navigating, helping them find their place.
I got it. Yeah, so these people come in, they're at a real crossroads, not sure what direction to go, probably have no advice, no idea of the resources that are in this county, and you know some of these resources and what's available out there.
Yes, and also we're low barrier. And what that means is that we don't tell people you have to quit using drugs. We don't tell them you have to leave your drugs at home, because here's the problem. If you tell people they can't use, they're more apt to die out there than to quit using their drugs. And what I find is by turning, not really a blind eye, but there are boundaries. You can't do it in front of us. You can't show me. I don't want to see it. And if you can maintain and not affect other guests, it's not an issue. And what I'm finding is people are using less. And one gentleman gave me his drugs and said, here, I don't want to do it anymore.
That's amazing. That's a great story. All right, folks, stay tuned. We're going to meet some people.
Awesome.
folks, I'm here with Nicole Pagan. She is the chef here. She's the one that dreams up these dreamy dishes. I mean, I'm hearing the food is really good.
Yes, we cook with a lot of love.
There you go. Cook with a lot of. You have to when you're working, out here doing what you. I mean, this is an outreach program. You are helping people in this community.
I love my community, and I would love to do more for it as much as I can. But being able to cook for people, to see that it gives them love and warmth and a full belly really warms my heart. It's the reason why I love cooking and baking.
Well, that's a good. So you, though, I mean, this isn't like a structured cooking job. You get the ingredients you get come from volunteers or their donations. Is that correct?
Most of it, yes.
And then you have to create a menu out of these donations and whatever it is that you get. You have to create meals.
Yes, we do a lot, actually. We did tri-tip the other day. We did stir fry. I'm doing stuffed bell peppers today.
Stuffed bell peppers today, folks.
And I make a lot of desserts. I make a lot of peach cobbler, cakes, cheesecakes.
And now these are made from scratch. They're not coming, and it's not like old store-bought, you're just repurposing it. You're actually making this from scratch.
Some of it, yes. Most of it, I will use box, or I'll change the recipe to spice it up a little bit.
There you go. All right, folks. Well, you heard it. This is the chef. Great food for great people.
Thank you.
All right, folks. We're in the dining hall, and Yvonne was just telling me there's a process that she uses when she hires people.
Yes, my process is that they have to work volunteer hours, 2-3 days, sometimes a week, just to see if they have the right aptitude for this job. Because as I said, there's a lot of different personalities and different situations that arise. And if you don't have the right aptitude for this, I can't hire you. And so my process is volunteer, and if you work out, there is a paid position.
Well, you heard it, folks. So if you're interested in helping out, come down, see Yvonne, 1111 Wayland Way. Try out, that's what it is. It's a tryout to see if this is a fit for you. This is not a fit for everyone.
No, it isn't.
So there.
It's out through trial and error.
Trial and error. That's usually how it works. All right, we're gonna meet some of the residents here. So as you folks know, 1111 Wayland Way is really out of the way. I mean, it is just it's kind of out here. It's on the the outskirts of Lakeport, and it's got to be a challenge. I mean, I've seen the amount of people that you had here when I got here this morning. There's quite a few of them, and it's got to be a challenge to get these folks here. How in fact do they get here?
We have them shuttled from pier points around the lake. There's like 4 different pier points. There's Clear Lake, there's Clear Lake Oaks, there's Lucerne, Nice, Upper Lake, and Lakeport. And it works out really well where this is positioned because we're in nobody's front yard. We're in nobody's backyard. We're positioned so that this doesn't offend or bother people, which is a great thing.
That is a great thing. And sad, though, too, that we think that, we need to be so far and so separated from, say like the city or surrounding areas.
We're not really that far in proximity because we have shuttle services, like I said, that picks people up.
At these pier points, so you got one in Clear Lake.
Yes, in Clear Lake Oaks, Lucerne, Nice, Upper Lake, Lakeport.
And so the bus or the van or shuttle, travels these areas, picks folks up, brings them here, and then also takes them and drops them off?
That's correct.
Wow, that is an amazing service. Yeah, wow. You really thought this thing through, didn't you?
It's well handled, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're doing a stellar job. I mean, it's working. That's the beauty of it. This is working, where so many other programs, so many other people have tried vainly to make things work like this. But this is working.
Yes, it truly is working. And the service is so needed. You see that by the amount of people we take care of, the amount of people that come for our services. And you see them come in, they're smiling. They're not scared anymore. They see that there is hope and that we're going to help them get through this. We're going to help them navigate to their next position, transitional housing, and then perhaps buying or renting their next house.
That is awesome, Yvonne. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, folks, Gregor here's kind enough to sit down with me and have a chat and tell me a little bit about himself. Gregor, where are you from?
I'm originally from from Pennsylvania originally, but most recently Santa Rosa. Moved out here. Me and my mom decided to get a house out here in 2017, and lived out here for a while and did a pretty good run. And had an argument last year, kind of went our separate ways, and I ended up on the street. And she is now out back east she had got cancer. So.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. So you're out. Your mom and you went your separate ways. You stayed out here in California. She went back to Pennsylvania, and now you found yourself in this situation where you're in need of this warming center.
Yeah. I was doing pretty good when I before we had our parting, but just circumstances. My car was having trouble. I'm a farrier. I work with horse feet, and it's hard to do that business without being completely in control of like every circumstance, phone.
Yeah, and being mobile is one of the most important thing, right?
Mobile is the most important thing, but also being able to communicate with your clients. And so the phone program that that I have to say I do appreciate the free phone program. That even though I still losing my phone, so.
Still hard to hold on to the doggone thing.
Hard to hold on to anything, and people understand that, but it's really hard to hold on to anything. And this actually really does help having a place like this, having any place where you can kind of either leave your stuff or something, or just it really is super important.
So this place to you also, you feel safe, you feel secure, you feel safe and secure. It's a warm place, Lake County right now. I know you're from Pennsylvania. You've seen snow like nobody's business, but for California, Lake County, this we've had some very cold weather this winter.
Yeah, and the cold is. People really don't understand. They think camping and blah 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 and stuff, but it is dreadful. It's the worst.
Well, camping and living in it are two different things.
I'm certain that hell is a cold place, not a hot place. So.
I agree with you.
But yeah, it's been really helpful having this and being able to kind of get a handle on life, and hopefully I will be up and back on my feet here pretty soon and. I just want to work with horses. That's all I want.
Well, you came to a great county for that because there's lots of agriculture and farms out here.
Yeah.
How did you find out about this place?
I don't know. I was it was about to start raining or something, and it was really no choice besides being in some really bad weather or being inside and being warm. So.
You chose to be warm.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk to us.
Yeah, thank you.
We're here with John. John, what is your title? What do you do here?
Volunteer right now.
Oh, volunteer.
Yes.
Right now. Okay. And one of the security guys.
I kind of do a little bit of everything. Basically, whatever I'm needed for, I do.
Yeah. Just so you know, folks, when I showed up this morning, John was out back. It's freezing cold out there, a little bit of rain, and this guy was loading the trash cans like nobody's business. So when he says he's like the guy doing, he's out there doing everything that he can to help support Yvonne in this endeavor. Yvonne, some of the programs that you're bringing here and people, you mentioned Dr. Donda is coming.
Yes, we'll be doing a clinic for everybody once or twice a month, as well as I have social services come in to help people get their Medi-Cal or food card. We also have the lady from the free phones showing up every other week as well. We try and get as many services as we can to help people be on the right track and have a good outcome.
Right. And also medical, you're helping people
Yes.
outreach to medical. Yeah.
And right now, if you don't have your information updated with social services, you'll be kicked off. So we've been having them come in every week to make sure everybody is up to date so that they don't lose their medical insurance.
So let me get this straight. A person that's on the streets who doesn't really have the resources for, say, mail. I mean, phones in our technological days that we're in, having a phone, that's like a major communication.
We allow them to use our mailbox and address.
Okay.
And, that's a big help right there, is
Okay.
having a stable address that you can pick up your mail to get your services. We also help people apply for their social security cards, their driver's license. We have all these forms, and we just don't hand them to them. We help them fill them out and
Right.
get them to where they need to go.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. What, the services that you're providing are invaluable. I mean, and here we are in our beautiful, small, yet large Lake County, right? And, what you're doing, Yvonne, this is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I see the need for it. When the place that was here before, I don't know if we should mention the name, they threw the people out on the street, and John was one of them. There was, I believe I had 10 to 12 people, and I own a lot of real estate in this county. So I put them in my homes as well as my personal home. John was one of the people I
Yes.
brought up to my ranch
Wow.
until I was able to get
She just took you in, and you were.
I had only spoken to her one time,
Wow.
and I had spoken to her the night before, and then the next day at noon, she had picked me up with all of my stuff and moved me into her house.
And now because
That's a
of-
testament of Yvonne's
Absolutely.
character. I mean,
Absolutely.
my
And
God.
now, because of this, I have a transitional home for men.
Okay.
Out of the need, the necessity to find a place for these men to
Okay.
preside. I rented a house in Nice, a
Okay.
5-bedroom home, and it's all men, and I have another one location for women.
Oh, wow, okay. When does it stop for this lady? Like, it doesn't, she has a passion, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and it doesn't seem to stop. That's truly amazing. Yeah.
It is. Truly, you are one of my role models, I can
Thank you.
honestly say, because I have realized that I love doing this just as much as you do. And I can't begin to explain how grateful myself and I'm sure everybody that you're helping here is. Because without you, I mean, there could have been possible catastrophes in regards to people. And the fact that you remained open is amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. It's important. I think when people suffer tragedies in their life, they either become jaded or empathetic, and I became overly empathetic.
Overly empathetic. Well, we need people like you in this world. We so
Absolutely.
I'm
desperately do.
honored
We are
to be able-
grateful and thankful to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be able to do it.
Excellent. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very
It was
much.
great. All right, folks, we're with another one of the pretty much like residents, but not just that. You've been with Yvonne here for how many years?
23 years.
23 years. Folks, this is Janita, and she's had the privilege of witnessing this wonderful woman's journey and kind of like been along with her this whole ride, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what brought you to the warming center?
This
I
time,
would, this time was because I was homeless and I was living under a bridge and I just couldn't take it no more.
Well, no, I mean, nobody could. I mean,
And I started getting sick and I wanted to come here to help her out.
well, that's
she
great.
reached out and I said, you know where I'm at.
There
Do
you
you
go.
want me to
Just
send
gotta
a
make-
shuttle?
make
Get
it
over
ready.
here.
Yeah. Okay.
She started volunteering 23 years ago when I started my first soup kitchen at the senior center.
In Lucerne.
Yeah, her mother
Yes.
and Janita came in and they would help everything from writing people's names down so I would have a count for how many people I was serving
Okay.
to handing out their utensils.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've been a part of the kitchen staff for quite a while
Yes.
as well. Yeah. And so this place for you, this means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
And
does.
this is a real resource for you. Without this, I mean, as cold as this winter has been, that would have been quite an awful situation for you to be in.
Yeah. I almost died out there.
You almost died out there.
Yeah.
So this is saving lives, Yvonne. And
It's important. That's what feeds my heart.
there you go.
Janita came in and I said, come on, sweetheart, I'll get you a hot bowl of soup and then how about a hot shower? And we went into the closet and I found her a cute outfit. And here we are, doing better today than yesterday, and
Yeah.
that's what
That's
we're
what
supposed to
counts.
do.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Janita, for taking the time to talk with us. Appreciate that. I know it's a lot to get on camera and do this.
Yeah.
All right. You're very brave.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're
I love
welcome.
you. They all call me Mama, and I am their Mama.
There you go.
She adopted, my mom had her adopt me when she passed
She
away.
says, if anything ever happens to my daughter, look out for her.
Gotcha.
So I've done the best I can.
And I think you've done a great job.
She's done a real good job.
All right, folks, well, we have the privilege of sitting here with Annie Barnes from the Sunrise
Special Services.
Special Services Organization.
Yeah,
Right.
foundation.
Tell us a little bit about, foundation you
Yeah,
said. Okay.
right.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's actually started because at that time, I'm co-founder. At that time, my husband, is now deceased, we had homes in San Francisco, board and care homes, and people who came from institutions.
Okay.
And then we had a
So institutions like mental health.
right, mental health,
Okay,
mainly
all right.
mental health,
Okay.
and also some from prisons.
Okay.
And at that level, and we worked with them from a board and care, 6 people, down towards independent living.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it was a step-down project, and that was in the 80s.
Oh, so you've been doing this for multiple decades.
Oh, right, although
Okay.
at that time, we were not a nonprofit.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
And so, what is your title?
I'm co-founder,
Of
Sunrise Special Services.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And we have a
And-
board.
Yvonne. What is her official title?
Yvonne, she's the shelter director.
She's the shelter director.
Yeah, she
Okay,
is.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
All right. All right.
When I met Annie, I was teaching belly dance class to her daughter.
Belly dance class. Okay.
If you Google, you'll see who I am on YouTube.
Okay. All right, folks. You heard that. Google.
I
Yvonne
balance
Cox.
swords, I blow fire, I
Oh my
dance with
God.
large snakes. They were 200 pounds.
Okay.
And so Annie's daughter, Sarah, was taking dance class. And Annie came in one day and said, what are your goals? What is it you want to do in life? And I told her, I want to feed people. And she says, well, how are you going to do it? And she pretty much helped me set the plan. I said I wanted to do it in a kitchen that was already established so I wouldn't have to deal with the health department. And so she told me, well, why don't you talk to JJ, who at the time was the
At the senior
senior
center.
center.
Center Lakeport, right?
And
No.
at that time, it was
Lucerne.
Lucerne.
Oh,
And then he
okay.
moved over.
Then
to
he
Lake-
moved over to Lakeport. Okay. All right. Wow.
So that's where it evolved from, is what is your passion? How are you going to do it? And she helped me figure out what it was I wanted to do and how I was going to go about doing it. And it continued.
So in many ways, Sunrise really basically is community-based, similar to her story,
Okay.
where there is, just like this is very community-supported.
Okay.
And empowering people
Mhm.
to dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I've been talking about the place in my community. I'm from Clear Lake, on the other side of the lake, and it's getting out there. It's slow, right? But it is getting out there, and it seems like the network that you guys all work within. You know, they've got the showers over in the Clear Lake Oaks, which is a very important.
Right.
And also in Lucerne now. And
Also
I
in
was
Lucerne.
working on that for many years. I saw
And
the need.
Are they doing it in Clear Lake as well?
Yes,
At the
yes,
senior
at the
center, correct?
senior
Okay,
center.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I believe, I thought that there was a shower facility there. And, you know, the city of Clear Lake as well, and we're probably the largest city in the county of Lake, probably with the largest population of homeless people. And if not, definitely one of the largest population of mental health issues. And that seems to be a real deal here in Lake County. And you guys firsthand must see this on a daily basis.
Yes, and that's what we're dealing with. We're low barrier, which means that you can come in loaded. You can come in with your drugs. We don't say not
There's no
to.
judging going on.
There is no judging. It's just you have to be able to maintain. If
Gotcha.
you are affecting other people around you, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you can't be
But we will
And they
also,
must, they
if,
must understand that.
and if it comes
They
up,
sign.
I always try and look ahead. If it doesn't work out here, where can we help them go next?
Gotcha.
Where would be a good fit for you if this doesn't work? But we haven't had too much of that. Most people are very considerate and very much in gratitude to be here.
Gotcha.
And the partnership with behavioral health, the crisis team.
And the sheriff's
And the
department,
sheriffs.
anytime I have called for assistance, they have been right on it. You don't get to say anything.
That's Annie she's talking to.
So yes, we have been partnered with a wonderful group that have backed us. And if it wasn't for that, if I have an issue, the sheriffs are right here. So is behavioral health.
Okay, all right. So you're not left to, do this on your own. You guys have support.
partners, right.
Yes,
And
there's
partners,
definitely
that's great.
support from the
Right.
community is big.
Excellent.
I've always had the community support, so now it's nice to have the county support as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is
Thank
great.
you, Board of Supervisors.
Yes, thank you,
Behavioral
though.
Health.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Annie.
Public health, all, Catholic Charities, all these agencies that also come in.
Yeah.
And we have a nutritionist, as I was saying earlier.
Okay, yeah, nutritionist.
Yeah, working towards plant-based.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
And healthy food, healthy environment. Yeah, it creates stability for people.
Yes, and I've also installed where we're going to be having NA and AA meetings here,
Okay, that's important. Yeah.
all
But-
voluntary.
As well as some art that we're looking into. So
Yes.
we are looking for volunteers. 'Cause
Okay, always looking for volunteers, folks. So any of you out there who's got the time, come donate. Well, thank you so much
Oh,
for taking
thank
the
you.
time to do a little interview with us and let us know
Appreciate
who you are.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. So, welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed that little segment. Went out and visited Yvonne, met some of her great staff members, her cook, Ms. Pagan. Awesome. And then the two other folks that I spoke to, the woman in specific who you've known for so many years, and have you've helped this woman out tremendously, and she so grateful that you do that for her, and especially the young gentleman. He really, I kind of spoke to him a little bit off camera, and he was in some bad sorts, and then you took him in and helped him out, and what a rebound it seems that he's making in progress with his life.
It's important to give people hope, and sometimes the smallest gesture can mean the most. Whether it's just lending an ear or handing out a meal or giving somebody something to put on after a shower,
Right.
makes all the difference between sometimes life and death.
Yeah, and kind of restores some sort of dignity maybe. And
Yes.
Yeah.
When
which
our
is-
guests come in, we do an intake, and what that consists of, we ask them, what are their needs? How can we help you? Let's help you navigate into the next level.
Right.
So if it's housing, or if it's just getting your paperwork for social services, or any of them, SSI, any
Yeah.
of these, we not only hand them the forms, but we help them fill them out, drop them off, get them to their appointments.
That's tremendous, like I remember when my father got his IHSS paperwork, and he's just like looking like, wait,
Right, yeah, and I go through that all the time. It's
Yeah.
like people, they get overwhelmed. First off, they're already stressed and everything, and then they turn around and they get overwhelmed. When you hand them a piece of paper, even though if they took the time to look through, it's really probably a few pieces of paper that they need to actually fill out, but they hand them a packet with all this legal
Jargon on
garbage
it, yeah.
that the state requires them to hand out that you really don't even care about. You're just gonna toss it off. But
Yeah.
so it's like when you get time to say, okay, here's a couple of pieces of paper we need to fill out, then they're kind of
Yeah.
that anxiety from here goes down to here, and then when you help them and get them to their, get it turned in,
Their
then,
destination, yeah.
their anxiety goes down, which means that that when they learn that to take those steps instead of just looking at I tell people, don't look at the whole picture. Just look at this
The
one
small
thing.
piece.
Yeah.
Look at this one thing, get through it, then we'll go to the next step. Once they start doing that, I noticed that, they start trying more. They start not doing as much drugs.
Exactly.
They
Give 'em a
start
comfort
trying,
zone.
right, they start trying to just go like that 1 hour without doing anything, and then, and working towards the things, and that's the part of the, like you said, the hope. The hope is there is an end if they had somebody to help get them on that right track.
Exactly, and that's what we hope
someplace
to
to
do.
go, and someplace, so, these programs to me are very important, but the sad part that we don't have along with these programs are the detox centers, so.
That would be a great
yeah.
asset.
So-
What we do is when people come in also is I put this podium that has all these resources, information about what's going on around the lake, what's offered, and then it also has forms. So if you need a form, you take it, and if you need help with it, my assistant Milena, she's wonderful, she'll help you fill it out, and then we put it in a intake box and an outtake box. So if you're expecting papers or you need papers, there's, right next to our window.
So what disturbs me is that this great thing that you're doing, and now you're being told by county officials that
The 24th, it's over.
it's over, and so we close this operation that.
It would be counterproductive.
Yeah, like that, to
get
me, that just
everybody-
doesn't, and so what is their reasoning? I mean, is it some sort of, is it a budget constraint? Is it
I think it's more, from what I understand, is that it has to do with where the building is and what it's zoned for.
Okay, so
And this
it's,
was an emergency proclamation, and
Okay.
so they were able to put it in. But here's
gotcha.
the thing, if they were to close us at April 24th,
right,
look how long it took me to get everybody in place and have the right crew.
Right.
Because there's
You're just
people
getting it done. Right?
with all kinds of degrees that have no business in this business.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
right,
I
I mean-
agree. A degree does not mean anything.
no, and,
It really
and
doesn't.
what also equally shocks me is you have the participants, the people that are participating in this effort that you're doing. We're talking a world-renowned doctor, Dr. Danda.
Yes.
A world, folks, if you don't know who Dr. Donda is, Google her. An amazing woman. She works with Yvonne. I don't know, county officials, Congressman Mike Thompson. I don't know where this needs to go up the ladder, but really got to think about this. Like, I mean, and the zoning thing, that specifically doesn't make sense to me
Well,
because
they can.
it was
do
juvenile
a-
hall
yeah.
before, and then it became, what was it again?
Eliza House was
Elijah
there.
That's what it was, Elijah House, yeah.
So if Eliza House was there for a while, quite a while, so
Yeah.
why is it that they had a use permit, obviously?
Right.
Which is what it takes to just change that, say, we're gonna give a use permit, or they can actually go in and change the zoning.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to do and rezone it altogether. So there's several ways they can make this work, or they can extend the emergency thing for,
I would hope
think
so,
up to
because
24 months, so.
I have seen it saves lives. I have seen
Yeah.
the
Well,
change
you and I
in
both,
people.
I think
I
we have
have
seen all of that kind of stuff when people get home, so.
And we see, like I said, so you have the shuttle, and so they pick these people up at pier points, you call them, and all throughout the lake, and they bring them there.
And they have
A
resources
meal,
also.
a shower, some sort of sense of dignity. I also want to mention, our guests got to see it in the pictures that you have a closet that you have clothing for them. You're ADA compliant. You've really like checked off all the boxes for this shelter that, I mean, it's like, what else needs to be done?
And
Like,
and I agree, it is counterproductive. We keep doing this, opening up for a short period of time and then we close. Open up the warming center for a short period of time, then we close. And it's a warming shelter and then we close. And the reality is we need a, whether you want to call it a homeless shelter or a transitional facility of some sort, I don't care what you call it, but we
Right.
need something there that these people, one, like you said, the services from the police department and the hospitals are less, because they're not breaking in to the places to get warm. They're not breaking in to have a place to just be, out of sight, So
Not
it's
only
just kind
that,
of crazy to do that.
We receive people from the hospital. We receive people from probation.
Right.
We
Wow.
receive people from parole. Every entity, the sheriff's department, behavioral health, all have brought people that need to be housed, not for medical reasons, but because they were released and had nowhere to go.
But I want people to understand that not all people that are homeless have mental problems or drug problems or
Right.
any of that.
This is true.
Because
And
I have
some-
been there and I had none of those problems.
Life
that was
happens.
not. That was
Yeah,
not the
We
Right.
have
reason
several
why I was
people in there
homeless,
right now
So-
that have one gentleman that just had a pacemaker put in. He's quite normal. He used to work for emergency services. When we had this big snowstorm, he didn't identify who he was until after the storm. Our lights went out immediately. And luckily I had pretty smelling candles on my desk, so I strategically put them everywhere.
Okay.
We had propane for our stoves, and our refrigerators were electric and they were stuffed with food. So I started cooking. And then this gentleman said that from his CPAC, he had this small generator. Would I like to use it? I said, most definitely. So we could keep communication up and coffee.
Right.
Coffee is a big one.
Right.
Everybody had coffee and they were able to charge their phone. We were able to keep in touch with everyone.
Nice.
We were snowed in there for days with
Yeah.
no power. The last day that they brought the giant generator, while they're hooking it up, the power came on.
Oh, of course.
But, you know, I had probably close to 50 people during that
Yeah.
snowstorm.
So,
And I
yeah.
handled it by myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is
So-
amazing. Yeah.
so, you
Kicking
know,
and
yeah.
it was
So
pretty wild.
it's like, has anybody talked to any of the supervisors to find out, you know, like, you know, is there some help
I
there for
whisper
you
in
to
their
stay-
ear every time I see them. I've been speaking with Bruno. I spoke with Mike Green last night.
Oh, good.
It's important. Like I said, this is so counterproductive. If this goes away and then we have to find new people to hire, because a lot of people can't wait 2 or 3 months
Yeah.
to be employed again. And then
Right.
for me to train everybody and get everyone on board and knowing and doing
Right.
what needs to be
Everything,
done.
the protocol parts of the business.
If we
so-
finally get the momentum up and everything's going smooth, and it's going to be
Right. And so where's your funding coming from for this?
right now. It was a grant, and it was okayed by the Board of Supervisors.
And so is that grant money running out, or
It was
do you
for
have,
3 months,
Okay.
and we've been on budget.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
So
I mean,
if you were to keep it open, where is anybody filing for more grants right now? Because
We
grants
do
do
have
take,
people.
grants take time. So that would have had to start right away when you took over
I
this grant. so-
started mentioning it to the grant writer just as soon as I had contact with
Yeah.
her, and they were explaining what the grant was. I was already asking, is this a possibility to get another grant?
Right. So I mean, and there is money, you know, out there for homeless and stuff. There's there's money out there. It's just who's going to be fighting for it, or who's going to be doing that.
yeah. How do you tap into it?
Right, how do you
Yeah.
tap into it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's lots of grants out there for transitional housing, lots of grants for sheltering, because, I mean, that's one of the things that California has put a ton of money for. So, but somebody would have had to start on that grant. Like when you got this one and opened this place, that grant should have been
Already
going
started.
for,
I agree.
because it takes time. So if you hit to the point where you're at the end of your grant and you haven't got another one, I mean, you wouldn't have a choice but to close down anyway. So what is
Exactly.
your thought of trying to stay open? You know, the county paying for it, the people paying for it, what's your
We're helping
plan?
the county, the Board of Supervisors, and everyone else in this county is gonna see the need for this
Mm-hmm.
and want to be a part of it to keep it going.
Yeah.
So,
I would hope.
yeah, well, I mean, I would hope, but, you know, all monies are always, like I said, strict, so I
I'm
think
sure.
for my point is, there needs to be a sit-down meeting with the administration at the county level. which
Sunrise is
which should have-
administration,
yeah,
and they're
which-
already looking
yeah.
into it.
Should have
Oh, well, that's
already,
good.
yeah, that, they should be meeting with the county, that should already be happening now, so that we can continue on, otherwise, no funding, there isn't, you know, we can't blame anybody if there's no
Right.
funding, you know, so.
On Tuesday, we're taking a group of people to the Board of Supervisor meeting.
Oh, good.
to
That's how
make
you do it. Yeah.
sure
Make sure they see your faces and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you on the agenda?
We will be, no, we're not on the agenda.
Okay.
Everybody has 3 minutes to
Yeah,
speak, and we're
right.
gonna bring a van full.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
just
fair.
remember,
And then we're gonna try and get on the
yeah,
agenda.
because the reality is no comments can be made by anybody.
Right.
So you can get up there and voice your opinion, but just be honest, I always feel like that doesn't, as a council member, I feel like that doesn't really do anything for us, because
Gotcha.
we can't respond, we can't do,
Yeah.
we can't say anything. So to me, if you want to take the effort, I would ask to get on their agenda next week or the following week.
That's what we had planned.
And then take those people then. Going to public comment probably isn't going to be successful, because there can be no response.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so you
It
have
can't
two
hurt.
choices, you know, you can't, two
Yeah, it
choices
can't
is.
hurt, but also
is-
like.
But it's just
you know,
kind of wasting,
Yeah.
I just say it's wasting your time and their time, it's not going to accomplish anything. What you could do is, you could show up with a lot of people, and this always just says, and then one person get up and talk and say, I want all these people to stand up and say that we're here to support this facility, and we would like to request to be put on the next agenda next week.
Yeah.
And then with the show of the force of being that, then they can say, let's schedule this for next agenda next week. That does force the issue of being on the agenda.
And then they can actually
Yeah.
make comment and, you know.
Thank you
Right,
for
then,
that.
then there's
Yeah.
then there can be a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
And with public
Like
comment,
starting a dialogue.
just like I said with city council, it's like you want to say something, but you cannot say anything. You cannot carry on a
Right.
conversation. The most we can do is direct you to staff.
Right.
So instead of going through all of that, and and stuff is you have two choices: talk to the chair and see if you can get on the agenda next.
That was the
yeah,
plan.
Yeah. So, but
And-
showing up
And often because I film
Yeah.
all their meetings, and I'm always uploading the Board of Supervisor meetings. The people that come and make those comments often feel ignored, right? Because they
we
don't
can't
understand the
say-
process, right?
So
Just
if
just
we-
like you didn't really understand the process,
Well, yeah.
and it's a learning thing. you know?
I've been in these
Yeah,
meetings
yeah.
before where I walked in, I said my piece and walked out, and within an hour of me speaking, I was getting call from a board of supervisor as well as someone from behavioral health.
Well,
So
that's
it
good.
doesn't
Some-
hurt
it's
to
not
speak
falling
up,
on
but
deaf
yeah,
ears,
the
yeah.
point would be, is to get on calendar, and
Yeah.
that is something we were definitely going to do.
and say we need time. This isn't a 15-minute discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
This is, we would like to make sure we have a blocked out enough time
Yeah.
to talk, and like an hour, or something, that you have enough time. Get paperwork in, get affidavits in, get stuff like that into them ahead of time. So people that you help, that they're willing to write a letter to say how much it's helped them, get where they're at, even though they may not be cured or, whatever. You never get cured of these things, but,
Right.
but where their steps, how it's helped them. Those are always things that me personally, I would like to see. What's been the success,
Right.
And has it been enough success to warrant the funding, so, you have to prove that it is, and it sounds to me that it has been, something that has been, is a short period of time. It sounds like you've done a lot in a
Yeah, it
small.
sounds very beneficial.
Small time frame that you've had. Sounds like you've done probably more than the other places that I've seen, so, so to me,
Thank you.
it would be definitely a very important thing to try to carry on. I never have been one to, open up a warming shelter center or whatever you want to call it, and then slap it down when you're just really getting the people to know you, because these people want it to know who's helping them, and
They feel safe.
Some of them,
Yeah.
some of them are not going to give you any information. It takes time to bond with them, even a little bit, enough to help them. So some people feel like they don't want to come in because they don't deserve it, and it's getting those people's confidence up a little bit to say, yes, come in and let us help you. We're here for you. And it sounds like you've done a lot of that in a short period of time. So I would not want to see this closed down. When it sounds like you're starting to be successful in what you're doing. It takes time to do these things, and it sounds like you've got your staff now in place, which always takes time. You got to see who's fits, who doesn't fit, who will listen, who won't listen, and you have to make changes according to that. And you were saying that you had to do that already. So, it just seems to me like what you needed to do, and you did it, and now you're ready to really move forward. But then you're going to be cut off. So I would definitely say get on their agenda and find out, and then whoever your grant writer is, get them on writing these grants, because that's where your success is going to be, is the grants that can come in from the state and the federal. So
Thank
those
you
are
for that
things-
choice.
Those are things that
Point
need to
taken.
go. Yeah. But it sounds like you have, out of all of them that I've seen open, I have to say I have not got a complaint on yours, which the other ones I were getting complaints constantly. I was actually having people show up that were at the facility complaining about how, they weren't feeding them, they were taking the food, and they didn't give them the clothes that I donated, and they did this and they did that, and I have not heard one bad thing about yours. So
It's about
that's it,
dignity,
yeah.
transparency, and communication.
And so it sounds to me like you're creating a successful, a shelter, and I would hate to see it go away at such a short time when you're just getting it going. So we really do need to figure out how to keep it going.
Thank
So,
you for your
yeah,
support.
so-
It means a lot, Joyce.
yeah, so-
I appreciate that.
So we've talked a lot about the shelter. We've everything you've been doing, writing grants, getting on the agenda for the Board of Supervisors. What we haven't talked about is Yvonne and Yvonne's past. So I'm excited because I know that you've been in a couple of movie sets or in movies. You are the infamous Snake Lady. And for those of you who want to do a little research, you can Google, and you're probably on YouTube as well.
All over YouTube as
All
well.
over YouTube, okay. You can look at some of her. We'll probably put a little bit of her footage up for you guys to view. Where did you get your start in the industry?
At a very young age,
Okay.
I seen a woman dance with a snake. And
Okay.
I told my mother, I'm going to do that. And she said, oh, no, you're not.
Oh no, you're not.
There she goes.
Wrong thing to say.
Okay.
So by 17, 18, I'm doing bellygrams.
Wow.
Working for a company. I would show up at birthdays, parties, and dance with the snake.
Okay.
Wine events
Okay.
all over Monterey.
All right.
And then I was already dancing at a place called Calisa's on Cannery Row.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't even old enough to be in there.
Okay.
But I was dancing there.
All right.
And what was really awesome is a few years back for her 87th birthday, I went down and performed some of the footage you'll see on YouTube.
Okay.
And that was pretty amazing to be there at 17 and then to be there again in my 50s.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Awesome.
Long career.
Long career. Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. What brought you to Lake County?
Oh, that's an interesting story. I was dancing across the United States and came back home to the city to perform because it was convenient and close. I
Gotcha.
danced with 250-pound pythons. Been doing this for many years. And I was asked, what would get you out of here? What would take you out of this place? And I was kind of being maybe a little bit smart about it. And I said, a deed to some property.
No. Okay.
And the man came back 2 weeks later with a deed to property.
Wow.
Threw it up on stage when I was performing. And at first I giggled and I thought, this is wild. And then I thought, you know, I've had enough for a while. I want to get away from here. I wanted to get away from the drugs, everything that was going on at that time. And my parents had recently both passed in a horrible tragedy.
Oh.
And so I made this decision that, you know what, if he's crazy enough, I'm crazy enough.
And there we go. Off to Lake County. Oh, that's amazing.
No, I was actually in Northern California in Willits,
Okay.
at which time I had my sister's daughter. I was raising her.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure the schools were adequate because we were 2.5 hours on a dirt road, Vineyard School.
Wow.
And so I started hanging out at the school to make sure she was going to get the education she needed. And as a result, I became a teacher's aide and then went back to school for 3.5 years, almost finished.
Okay.
And I was teaching school for a while
Okay.
and enjoyed that immensely. It was
Awesome.
a 3-room schoolhouse. Totally changed the dynamics from performing all over and
Snake
doing
lady to-
magazines
yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. So a totally different. Yeah.
It was wonderful. It was very
Transition.
rewarding.
Yeah. That sounds like it. Yeah. Awesome.
And then you went from there to Lake County?
From there into Lake County, I was moving, and my aunt had told me, pick where you like and go find your house. And I remember driving to Sacramento and seeing this lake, and I thought, this is fabulous. And that's probably like 99. And so when I had to move, I was thinking, well, why not Lake County? So I ended up buying a little house, and while the house was being worked on, I ended up renting out this big flat in Lucerne right across from Foster Freeze. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was on the lake.
Okay.
And that's where I fell in love with it, and I opened up a tattoo shop,
Okay.
bought other real estate, kept buying real estate,
Mm-hmm.
and started flipping houses.
Oh.
And that was very lucrative and interesting to
yeah.
me. I love designing. I love the part of putting things back together and making them beautiful again.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then how I first found you, I found her on social media, Facebook, and you would post every day, like, you know, come by, grab a bag lunch. I was so intrigued. like I was like, wow, this woman, like, every single day without fail gets on Facebook, lets people know what time to come by, get a bag lunch, and you were doing that, like, just right out of your house?
No, that was out of both of my shops. I had
Okay.
a motorcycle shop.
Okay.
After the tattoo shop, then I opened up a motorcycle thrift store
Okay.
between 5th and 6th Street. Very successful. And then when they sold the building, I bought my building I have now,
Okay.
which is a very big old restaurant, the old Brentwood.
Okay.
And so it evolved, and the goal was, I had the soup kitchen at the senior center. Thank goodness they hosted us for years.
Right.
And when that was no longer working out, I went to Jose's Cafe that used to be
I remember
in
that.
Lucerne.
Yeah.
It was there for like 9 years.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
actually remember Jose. He was the cook, I believe, for the Lakeport Senior Center for a little while.
I believe so.
Yeah. Small world. Well, that was great. We're going to take this time to thank you, Yvonne, for coming in, sharing your
Thank you.
story. Love
Thank you,
hearing and
Joyce. Always
um,
good to see you.
keep up the good work. Keep up the hard work. Keep the faith. I don't see why in the world something so positive they'd want to shut it down. It would seem to me
It would
that
be funding.
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
would, and I mean, they look at the whole of funding too. We have to realize that the county and the cities and stuff are responsible for not just a few, but for everybody. And when you look at the realm of population, and you're going to say 60,000 population, and we have 40, 50 in this facility, which to us is a huge thing, but when they're doing finances and they're looking at the whole picture, to them 50 people doesn't sound like a lot to them, but we know that if you help 50 people, it's not just 50 people.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of thousands of people's lives you touch.
Exactly.
And we have a
Because
big
it's
turnover.
it's for every person that you help get better, the turmoil in our community and to their families and to their friends and other people that they may help along the way.
Exactly.
So what we have to get people to realize is it's not just 50 people, it's hundreds of thousands of people when we help these people and their lives that are touched.
Not
and
only
everybody
that,
they touch.
It is 120 different people in a month. Over 120 different people.
Right.
Not the same people,
Right.
but on our count.
Unduplicated. That's what they
Unduplicated.
call it.
I gotcha.
Unduplicated,
I
yeah.
gotcha.
So it's this like, we really need to, where can we get the money? That's where it all really boils down to. Finances and getting, of course, either a use permit or a zoning change, so probably more a use permit than a zoning change.
Yeah, because it should be
Just
zoned
like-
already
yeah.
for this type
Yeah.
of thing, you would think.
And whether
Well,
it continues or
it's
not.
a housing, it's juvenile hall, so that should be it's zoned for housing already, so
Exactly,
I'm not
yeah.
quite sure when they say it's not zoned for that.
I won't
Um,
stop doing what I do. I want to be
No,
clear
well, we
about
know
that.
that. We know
23
that.
years. I'm not
You've been
going
doing
to
it before
stop.
this.
Yeah.
We
Nothing
have-
stopped you
yeah.
Grant
yet,
or no
so-
grant, we're
Yeah.
going to continue doing
Yeah.
something
Awesome.
outreach. I'll
Yeah.
continue doing
But
what
it'd be nice to be able to stay in this
They would be
facility
amazing.
and things, so, I
that's my prayer.
yeah, so, well, I personally support you 100% on what you're doing. I think it's
I
been
do too.
fabulous
Thank you
on
both.
all your help that you've done with the community. And, we just hope people out there, contact your supervisors in your
Yeah,
area.
reach out.
Let them
Please
know
do.
that this is important, for our community to help these people. And it would be nice if we could say, we can help these people
Yeah.
and eventually maybe we won't need it, It would be nice for us to be able to say, we have helped our homeless become better people and productive in our society, because that is the goal.
That is the goal.
That is the goal. Without hope, though, they don't have that, and this is their hope.
And she
So-
provides hope.
Dignity
so.
as well.
And dignity, yeah.
So-
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you
All right.
both.
Well, that was an amazing interview with Yvonne.
Well, it was amazing how she got up here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that was really, and so, just her life of how she ended up in Lake County
Yeah.
was kind of also interesting. I didn't know I've known Yvonne, but we've never really talked about things like that, so.
like how she got
Yeah,
here.
right, how she got
Yeah.
here and stuff like that. She, most people know her as a snake lady in Lake County, and when I had the youth center, she did come down and do a presentation for the kids with the snakes and everything, and they loved that, so.
Yeah,
So if anybody
educational
wants
as
that, she
well.
loves to do that kind of stuff. She really loves to do
Exactly.
that kind of stuff, but she is an amazing woman with the homeless people. She's been helping them for as long as I can remember her, and I've done a lot of different things together, so, for her to be able to do this, I know she loves it.
Folks, you can follow her on social media. She's on Facebook. You just look up Yvonne Cox, that simple. She did get notified that the center would be closing,
Yeah.
maybe sooner than later. Let's hope later, because here we are. It seems like every week goes by, and here we're gonna go into another
Yeah.
week of
Rain.
atmospheric river. They're saying,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
another.
And it was very cold last night,
Yes,
so-
it was freezing. The
Yeah.
frost was definitely on the
Yeah.
windshield this morning. So, Definitely not a time to be closing a warming center.
I agree.
A shelter for folks who are
I'm sure
less
that
fortunate.
if the weather stays this bad, they will probably extend it, but it's not going to be permanent through the summer. It's not going to be a permanent location, but they probably will extend it a week or two at least if the weather stays bad. So
Exactly. Well, don't forget to follow us and
like us
subscribe.
and like us
And subscribe and like us, of course, and spread the word, lcptv@hotmail.com. We also got another brand new email address, and it is super easy to remember, pegtv8@gmail.com, pegtv8@gmail.com, lcptv@hotmail. Send us some ideas. We're always, looking for new content and good, fun.
have somebody
story.
that you want to hear about.
Yeah.
So all kinds of
Some of
things.
the best stories are under a turned rock.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
We definitely like to have some different contents than what's everybody knows about. So if you know somebody out there that you'd like to see interviewed because they do something great for our community, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Till next time.